This week at Unity churches across the country, people will be participating in a burning bowl ceremony. We're going to be participating in one today. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, the burning bowl ceremony, it gives us an opportunity to write down on a little piece of paper, a little piece of flash paper that you received in your bulletin. You write on that little piece of paper everything you want to let go of, well, as much as you can fit on the paper anyway. You write down on that paper what you want to let go of, what you want to release. Could be a habit or an idea or belief or pattern in your life. And then we put it in the fire in this little bowl up here, and poof, there it goes. It's gone. Feels wonderful. This is one of the most popular rituals in the Unity movement. In fact, it is so popular that Unity World headquarters at Unity Village now does a virtual burning bowl online so that people all around the world can participate. It seems that we are all quite eager to give up what we no longer want in our lives. Whether it's fear or anxiety or depression, illness, relationship issues, job problems, debt, unhealthy habits, whatever it is, we are more than ready to let it go. Or are we? Because you have to wonder, if we are so eager to give these things up, why have we held on to them for so long? Why have we prolonged these ways of being that no longer serve us? Well, the simple answer is it's because we're used to it. It's our normal. We're used to living this way, to having these attributes. Even if they make us miserable, at least we know what to expect. The deeper reason is because we don't know who we would be without them. You see, we hold on to our outworn beliefs, our outworn ideas, even things that cause us pain. Because if we give them up, we are also giving up a part of who we have known ourselves to be. We're giving up an old us. You see, on some level, maybe it's not conscious, but on some level, the question arises for us when we contemplate this kind of change. Well, who will I be without this blank? Who will I be without that strobe going on? I feel a lot calmer, man. Woo! Hello, universe. Oh. Please tell me we can do something about that. We don't have anybody with seizure issues here, do we? All right, we're going to persevere here. But we ask ourselves, who would I be? Who would I be without that fear? Who would I be without that issue? Thank you. Who would I be without that story? Who would I be if I were not a victim? Who would I be if I didn't worry about money all the time? Who would I be if I let go of that relationship or that job or that addiction? You know, it feels like we're falling into an abyss if we let go of those things. You know, the truth is that we're so afraid of the unknown, we're so afraid of making a mistake or being alone or feeling empty that we cling to these attachments even when we know they're not good for us. We continue to live that way. We can go on that way forever. We can go on for a good long while until and unless we get a wake-up call. We get a wake-up call. That wake-up call may come from something happening on the outside in our lives, or it may come as an inner realization. But regardless, when it comes, it is very clear and very sharp. And the message to us is this: I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to carry this anymore. I don't want to carry these burdens. I don't want to feel this heaviness in my life. I don't want to be this person anymore. And that's huge. And as frightening as it might be, it is a sure sign that we are ready for transformation. We're ready for a major change, a major shift. And the first step in that transformation is surrender. You know, surrender often gets a bad rap. We think that surrender means defeat, or it means capitulation, that it is a sign of weakness. And the opposite is true. Surrender isn't resignation. It doesn't mean giving up. Richard and Mary Alice Jaffola, in their wonderful book, Great Unity Primer called The Quest, they say in there that surrender, when we surrender, it's not so much giving up as giving over. You see, we're giving over a lower level of consciousness for a higher level of consciousness. We are releasing the shackles of the ego so that we can experience the great freedom of higher wisdom. And it's really, you can think of it as sort of like graduating from one level of understanding to another. And so goes our spiritual journey, right? And also the way of life. The old must be relinquished for the new to come forth. We see it in nature. The caterpillar has to surrender to become a butterfly. The hawk egg has to surrender being an egg in order to become a hawk. We had to surrender being children and teenagers in order to become adults. Similarly, I bet you can each think of maybe a way you've been in the past, maybe in your younger years. Those of you who are still young, use your imagination here. But you think back to a way you used to be. Perhaps you were shy. Perhaps you were a daredevil. Perhaps you were someone who couldn't commit. But you look back on it now and you say, yeah, that's really not me anymore. In the truest sense, that was never you. It was just a personality that you adopted for that period of time. It really is a false self, because your true self is unchanging. Your true self is God in you, that brilliant, unique expression of light that shows up in, through, and as you. And so when we know this, when we know the truth of who we are, and that these outer behaviors are really connected to sort of a false idea of who we are, we can more readily release them. We don't feel that existential threat. How many of you are familiar with the Enneagram? Yeah, we taught a class on this a while back. Probably time to teach it again. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, the Enneagram is termed like a sacred psychology. And essentially it describes 9 personality types, which is kind of it, but it goes deeper than that. It really is portraying 9 different models of the universe that people have. 9 different ways that people sort of look at life and determine how they are going to relate to life. And the beautiful thing, Graham, is it tells you for each specific type, what's your biggest problem and what's your greatest gift. And remarkably, they are the same. Do I need a handheld? The basic premise of the Enneagram is that we have 2 selves. We have our true essential self, as we're talking about, God in us, and then we have our false self. We have our personality. And the false self is really what we have created as a coping strategy for how to live life. On some level we decided, okay, I'm going to be this way. This is how I'm going to manage everything. But the false self is not who we truly are. It's just who we think we are. And so as we study the Enneagram, we do so with the idea of discovering in what ways, when we know our type, in what ways we're identifying with our false self so that we can break free of it and return to our true self. And we do that largely through self-observation. Well, my Enneagram type is a 4. A 4. A 4 is a tragic romantic. Right. A 4 is sensitive, idealistic, I'm summarizing, sensitive, idealistic, romantic, somewhat prone to melancholy, tends to kind of wear their emotions on their sleeve. This doesn't sound like me at all, does it? But the downside of a 4, or 4 who is not self-aware, is that they can tend to make a bigger deal out of things than necessary. Right, to sort of stir up some emotion there.
Drama queen.
Drama queen. Which is, honestly, in all honesty, that is not how I've ever seen myself, but there's definitely been a lot of internal drama, particularly when I was younger. Nevertheless, the 4 will make a bigger deal out of things than is necessary. Well, when I found this out, that I was a 4, I was not happy. And I was tempted to make a very big deal out of it. And in fact, most people are not happy when they find out their Enneagram type. Am I right on that? Yeah, it's like you go through the 9 and you think, okay, this is the one I really, really don't want to be, and that will be the one that you are. But the really liberating truth here, and it was very liberating for me, is to know that's not who you really are. That's the false self that you've adopted. That's the personality. That's your coping strategy. And now that you recognize the pattern, you can heal it. You can heal it. And so for me, that turned into becoming very vigilant in noticing when I was making a mountain out of a molehill. Or if someone would try to pull me into a situation or sort of enlist me in creating drama, I would just, no, I'm just not going there. I don't want to do that. Nor would I initiate it myself. You know, a lot of it, I think, came from getting older and realizing that it takes a lot of energy to get all worked up about things and just not wanting to keep doing that, but rather to have peace in my life. There's been a whole lot of more peace in my life. Unity's had a lot to do with that. Richard's had a lot to do with that. What made the biggest difference is I wanted to be happy. I wanted to stop putting myself through that. So the point here is that we all have mistaken ideas about who we are and how we need to show up in life in order to succeed. We all have patterns of behavior that we don't like. We all have habits that we want to release. And the real big learning here is that as we release those, we get closer to who we truly are. You see, we begin to see that, and it's just like, yes, I'm letting this go now. The more we center in the truth within us, the easier that becomes. So today and next Sunday is sort of our 2-step process for releasing who we are not, right? We're letting go of these ideas that we were in the past of, you know, when you put your behavior on there, something you want to release, you're also releasing the person that used to have that in their life. You're saying, I'm not that person anymore. I'm releasing fear. I'm not going to be fearful. I'm not a fearful person. If I'm releasing debt, I'm not going to be someone who overspends or whatever it is. You see, there's a lot more to it than just releasing the attribute. And so this is huge. We release the false self in the ceremony today, and then next Sunday, hope you all come back for our white stone ceremony, because that is so inspiring, having sort of cleared the way, if you will, for a greater understanding of who we truly are. We now invite guidance from Spirit. What's my direction for the year? What's my intention? What am I to focus on? We write it on a white stone and we keep it throughout the year. You know, the reality today is that it would be so lovely if what we put in there was really gone, would it not? You know, you put it in the fire and, okay, that's over. How great. It doesn't exactly work that way. We continue to release. But what we have done is gotten very clear and very courageous in writing down exactly what it is that we want to let go of. And now we work it. We work it probably every day, just like me letting go of those old habits. We surrender over and over again. But the really exciting thing is that there's a great gift for us in that. Because as we surrender, we discover that when we truly give it over to God, higher power, divine intelligence, infinite life, whatever works for you, as we truly turn it over, that something wondrous happens. There's a whole new energy that kicks in for us. There's a whole new level of awareness and possibilities and resources that come to the forefront. We are filled with a sense of sureness and support that we weren't expecting. It's a little bit miraculous. Cynthia Bourgeault is a well-known spiritual author, and she says this. She calls this, you know, when we surrender, and we turn it over to our higher power, if you will. It's an alchemical breakthrough. She writes, in the moment of that struggle, the Christ mysteriously makes itself present and takes things the rest of the way. You see, we're in the flow. We're in the flow. And all unfolds in really astoundingly perfect ways. Today, after you put your paper in the flame, I want you to notice how you feel. Typically, people feel the freedom of release. They feel a little bit lighter. And what I want you to know is that that feeling that you are going to have today is just a tiny indicator of the exhilaration and liberation that you will feel when you truly leave all of this behind. That feeling, that uptick of energy that you feel in you is your heart speaking to you. It's the universe cheering you on. So stay strong, stay clear, keep going. Let's turn now to our meditation. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Let it go. And one more time, breathing in deeply. This beautiful sacred energy. And release. Feel yourself fully relaxing from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Knowing in this moment that you are divinely safe and protected, loved and cared for. That indeed all is working together for your highest good. I invite you to reflect back on your own life journey, the ups and the downs, the challenges, the triumphs. In particular, appreciate those times when you summoned the courage to surrender, when you laid down an old way of being, an old situation, and you turned to that light within you, and it led you on. Appreciate the blessings that came from that, the newness, the expansion of your true nature. I invite you to bring that same awareness into this present moment. As you turn your attention and your awareness to whatever is weighing on your heart, whatever is blocking your joy or your light. Listen for what you most dearly want to release and let go. Listen for your guidance in the silence. As we return our awareness to this room, we do so with a sense of clarity, courage, and determination. we know what we wish to release. And so we take these moments now to write on our slip of paper whatever has come to us, whatever attitude, behavior, belief, circumstance, situation, whatever we most fervently are ready to give up, and to do that now. Thank you, God, for this amazing process of transformation and for all the glory of God unfolding for each of us. And so it is. Amen. Those of you who are watching online, you could certainly do this ceremony at home. Write on a piece of paper what you wish to give up, and you can either put it in a candle flame, being very careful, or if you prefer, just write it on a piece of paper and rip it up into little pieces and throw it in the trash. I've done that before too. It can also be very, very freeing. For those of you here in this room who now have, does anybody need a piece of paper? Did anyone not get a flash paper? If anyone needs that, just raise your hand. You need it, Linda? What's that? Oh, okay. She needs some? Okay. Coming around. The ushers are going to lead you to come forward and put your flash paper into the flame. So just want to give you a little instruction about this. The piece of paper that you've been given is called flash paper for a reason. When it ignites, poof, it goes up like that. It's a flash. So as soon as you see that it's ignited, let it go. What are you going to do as soon as it's ignited? Let it go. Thank you. Just telling you, the first person in the last service that stood here and held it, I was like, let it go, which is part of the process, correct? All right, so you're going to let it go in there, and it'll just burn instantly. The main thing is to keep yourself safe and, enjoy the process. And so with that, we'll enjoy some beautiful music. The ushers will guide you from the back forward to come on up and let go and let God. How do you feel? I know, right? It's great, isn't it? It's going to get even better for you.